Throughout our journey with Bethesda, we've crossed nuclear wastelands, we've endured frigid mountaintops, and we even charted the stars. However, there is one great frontier Bethesda hasn't truly touched yet.
Under the sea. Under the sea. Under the sea.
Hello crows and non-crows alike, my name is Joe Mack, otherwise known as Support Crow, and today I'm putting forward my theory on TheElderScrolls 6 taking place in the Somerset Isles. So where is this coming from? Well, some time ago a leaker released some very amazing details about TheElderScrolls 6, confirming that the game will be set in not just Hammerfell, but also High Rock. The leaker also confirms that dragons will make a return, settlement building will be taken to a whole new level with village building, fort building, and yes, ship building with whole new mechanics for naval exploration. The source? Trust me, bro. So while I'm reading through this, I thought to myself, well, if anyone can just throw shit out there, why shouldn't I partake in the fun? So here we go. This is my honest theory about where I see us going in TheElderScrolls 6. Firstly, I don't believe we're going to Hammerfell. It's an interesting province and it has some very cool lore associated with it. If I was making a top 3 provinces video about where I see the next game taking place, Hammerfell would make the cut. It's very interesting and I'll probably make a video on it at some point, but I don't think it's where we're going, fam. A lot of people think Hammerfell is our next destination because Bethesda released a teaser for TheElderScrolls 6, and people speculated that the land shown in that trailer was Hammerfell. A lot of people think it's Hammerfell also because of, just how it lines up. TheElderScrolls 3 started in Morrowind, then we had Oblivion, which was in Cyrodiil, then we went up into Skyrim, and if we just sort of follow the path that we've been going on, High Rock and Hammerfell seems like the next option, right? But that's really just, convenient speculation. And I think that trailer was just to tell people TheElderScrolls 6 is being worked on. It's a flyby of a very pretty landscape with a title over it, and that's it. So why Somerset Isles? Bethesda is all about doing what you want and going where you want, but going underwater has always been rather bland in Bethesda games. It's also been 14 years since the last Elder Scrolls game, so people are expecting something new, something impressive, and something that validates the need to work on a game for so long. I'm going to agree with the supposed leaker's point on naval exploration. However, I'm going to disagree on the location. We could have players sail ships in between High Rock and Hammerfell, but I think it'd be much more enjoyable to have players do so throughout the Somerset Isles. Instead of going back and forth between two coasts, you have numerous islands and points of interest to explore. I also think this location makes sense narratively. One major point of conflict in Skyrim was the rise and growing influence of the Thalmor and the Aldmeri Dominion. The Isles are the home of these factions. And if the war is going to be won against the Thalmor, it's not going to be in just Hammerfell or High Rock or Cyrodiil or Valenwood. It's going to be where these nations can fight them together, which is in the open sea and then eventually in the Isles. That is so much more interesting to me if we're going to involve naval exploration and combat. You're going to have different alliances fighting out in open water. Thalmor ships, Alikir ships, Imperial ships, and others all fighting with each other. Not to mention a variety of passengers, merchants, and even pirate ships trying to do their own thing. And none of that includes other dangers to be worried about. Dangers such as the Malmer, otherwise known as the Sea Elves or Tropical Elves, an exiled race that lives in Piondonia, an archipelago within the Southern Sea. This seafaring nation was once a major world power until their armada was destroyed by the combined effort of the Aldmeri Dominion and the Cyrodiilic Empire. Not to mention a little storm conjured up by the Sigic Order of Artaeum. It's been centuries since the Sea Elves have been seen, but perhaps they're simply biding their time, amassing a new armada to claim the seas once more. An armada that would consist of not only Malmer ships, but also great sea serpents, large reptilian sea monsters that reach 64 feet above the water in height. They're large enough to capsize warships. And don't worry, there's more than just colossus-sized sea serpents in the ocean. You can also find the Yakra, a race of deep-sea crustacean-like nasties. Weresharks, which are like werewolves, but with sharks. And if there aren't any dragons around to kill you, I'm sure the Kraken will. Then you have the mysterious Slode, are semi-aquatic, corpulent beings that resemble something between a slug and a toad. They're native to the coral kingdom of Thras. Their culture is largely based on necromancy, and they are infamous for releasing the Thracian plague in the First Era, a plague that killed more than half of the population of Tamriel. And if none of that kills you, then you always have stormy weather. I realize that I've given you plenty of reasons why you shouldn't go sailing in The Elder Scrolls 6. So how about I give you some reasons why you should. Each Elder Scrolls has been very landlocked. You're in a province and you remain in the borders of that province. The perspective changes a little when your game world consists of a region of sea rather than a region of land. The biome diversity turns into a sample platter, more or less. Tired of the tropical islands of Somerset, sail over to the rolling hills around Daggerfall. Want to work on your tan? Let's drop anchor by the Alakir Desert. When you're out of Sunscream, you can find some shade in the forests of Valenwood. And if you get tired of exploring places on land, then there's plenty of places to explore in the ocean. Take a dive and look for resources in coral reefs. Swim through shipwrecks in search of forgotten treasures. Plunder old sea serpent temples and flooded ruins. My theory is that The Elder Scrolls 6 takes place in the Abyssinian Sea, and includes the Somerset Isles and the coastal regions of High Rock, Hammerfell, Cyrodiil's Gold Coast, and Valenwood. Not only because I think it'd be a really cool seafaring Elder Scrolls pirate adventure, but also because there are some hints in Skyrim that point us in that direction already. The most obvious conflict that is left unresolved in Skyrim is the Thalmor and the Aldmeri Dominion. We call the Somerset Isles their home. We are also introduced to a group of Alakir warriors that point us in the direction of Hammerfell, and talks of tension between that nation and the Thalmor. The Abyssinian Sea provides the most direct, unrestricted path from the Somerset Isles to Hammerfell. Any war between those two nations is going to involve that region of ocean. And in the College of Winterhold quest, we're introduced to the Psijic Order, a group of mages that isolate themselves on the island of Artaeum, the third major island of the Somerset Isles, assuming it's in the mood to stick around and not disappear on you, that is. It's also worth noting that Todd Howard's first time directing a Bethesda game was The Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard, an adventure game where you start off fighting pirates while on your way to the game's primary setting, the island of Stros Makai, which is in the Abyssinian Sea. Look, this is just my tin hat talking here, but if I was Todd Howard and if there was any idea that The Elder Scrolls 6 was going to be my last Elder Scrolls game before retirement, then I would look back at Redguard and say, what can we do now that we couldn't do back then? And then I'd do it. Do it. I hope you enjoyed the video and thank you for watching. Let me know what you think or what you'd love The Elder Scrolls 6 to take place down in the comments. Next month is all about Dragon Age and Mass Effect, starting with a Dragon Age theory that starts off 6 feet under. And no, I'm not just talking about the franchise. Until then though, be safe, be well, be kind. Bye-bye.